Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Info Warriors, I've got a call to arms for all of my geoengineering activists out there. A peaceful protest will be taking place outside of the Weather Channel headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia, this coming Monday, January 26, 2015. The group that is putting this on say that the Weather Channel is instrumental in selling the propaganda that attempts to confuse and delude citizens about geoengineering. Former 2012 congressional candidate Greg Palin and Mary Lou Harris, thank you all for joining us here at Infowars. So, Greg, I know that you are really involved. You've been engaged in activism, especially when it comes to geoengineering. Talk to me a little bit about that. Why is this such a hot topic for you?
Well, Leanne, number one, I wanted to say thank you for having us. Thank you for the exposure. Geoengineering, I do believe, I fight a lot of battles, but geoengineering, I do believe, is the most important topic of our time. I fight the fluoride issue as well, the GMO issue, the mercury in the vaccine issue. But we can control the water we drink. We can control the food that we eat. We can control whether we take vaccines or not, but we cannot control the air that we breathe. And through tests of water, soil, snow, air, we have found very, very high quantities of aluminum, barium, strontium. We found arsenic, mercury, lead, and this is nanoparticulate form metals, which bypass the blood-brain barrier. And when you combine aluminum with fluoride, you get a 10,000% increase in toxicity. So the people that are drinking fluoridated water and then breathing this nanoparticulate aluminum, that alone should be a huge cause for concern. And I'm also an amateur astronomer. I'm a big outdoorsman. I love to fish. I love to hunt. So I look at the sky a lot. I have a big telescope here. And I first noticed this years ago with the, I don't like to use the term chemtrails, but the geoengineering chemtrails, let's call it that, just crisscrossing the sky in front of the moon, and did a lot of research, put up billboards about 3 years ago for What in the World Are They Spraying, the Michael Murphy documentary, and have put up quite a few more billboards with my own money for other organizations like Oath Keepers, Infowars. I put up a billboard for Infowars, Infowars.com, seek ye the truth. I think you guys do a fantastic job, and we need to drive people to the alternative media so they can learn about topics like geoengineering, because it is the most important topic of our time. We have to get the spraying stopped.
Absolutely, and that was some really good information that you provided. It gets, you know, the more guests that we have on talking about this and just talking about the different kinds of spraying that are hitting us now, it gets a lot more difficult to believe that there isn't some nefarious idea behind it all. But of course, the issue is just getting the truth out there and just explaining what it is. And obviously, one of the main channels of propaganda is the Weather Channel. And so you all are going to be protesting outside of their headquarters. Talk to me about this protest.
That's correct. That's correct. That's the belly of the beast. This is the propaganda machine that helps sell the polar vortexes and the new types of cloud formations that are clearly not normal. I've watched the sky. They start spraying at approximately, a lot of days, 12 noon. I watch. And by late afternoon, it starts out as a crisscross pattern. And if you watch those trails dissipate, it forms milky haze. It goes from a perfectly blue sky to a totally hazed over white sky over a period of hours. And it takes time to witness this. I was fairly successful in my business life, in a former life. I retired, semi-retired at about 40 years old, and sadly, was doing a lot of fishing, a lot of shooting, a lot of things I like to do. And I'm a big Second Amendment guy, Second Amendment rights guy. I do a lot of Second Amendment rallies. and just really witnessed these trails, watched them every day as I was fishing, and started to have some health problems related to lymph nodes. And I really truly believe that had a lot to do with what I was breathing because I was getting a lot of exposure. But bottom line is, if you watch the skies as much as I've watched the skies, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. And these aren't water vapor contrails that dissipate typically within 20 plane lengths. These are trails that last for hours and hours and turn a perfectly blue sky into milky haze almost every day. And then sometimes when it's already milky haze, you'll see the trails through the clouds. And again, I watch the sky every single day and have for 5 to 10 years. What we're seeing is not normal, not at all normal.
Definitely not. And I know personally myself, I've called in, just to the city hall, for instance, and just kind of talked to them about, well, what are you guys spraying up there? Have you taken a look at the sky today? And it's always playing dumb. There's no answers. Nobody knows who to talk to. Oh, we'll call the EPA. And it's always pushing it off to the next person, passing the buck. And the Weather Channel and your local news, your local weathermen, these are people who it is their job to explain to us what is happening in our skies. And we've had other guests on who are trying to compile some data that shows that these heavy spray days correlate with the days that they tell people, children and the elderly and those with asthma and bad allergies shouldn't be outside. And they seem to coincide. So obviously, the more that people are able to compile this data, the more videos that are uploaded, the more of these peaceful protests that are organized to help get the word out, all the billboards that you and other activists like you are putting up all over the place is really helping to break through the propaganda. Now, Mary Lou, I know that you are in charge of really organizing this whole event. You've gone through the trouble of making sure there's food vendors and tents and all sorts of luxurious things that'll be out there for a lot of the protesters that show up. But you've actually faced something really hypocritical on Facebook, something that's actually quite frightening, but they're not taking it that seriously. Tell me about that.
Well, Facebook's not taking it that seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I stumbled onto a page, actually somebody posted it on the event page that I had put up, and it's a Facebook page that calls out for the execution of chemtrail activists and geoengineering fear mongers is what they called us.
On site.
Yeah, execute them on site, and then they posted our event and basically called for your local crazies to come out and do what they're asking to be done. And I reported it to Facebook because I'm pretty sure that written death threats are something that can be prosecuted by law. I don't think if I sent an email to you today that said, hey, Leanne, I think I'm going to kill you, that it would just, be ignored by you or the local municipalities. I mean, that's a very serious thing to do. And this Facebook page calls out not only our event, but it says that they will give chemtrail activists their wings, which is a direct reference to what the gentleman, I shouldn't call him gentleman, shooter on the New York City police posted that to his Facebook page before he went out and killed those two men in cold blood. He said that he was going to give piggies their wings. And so, I mean, that's a direct reference to a very heinous crime that just happened. And that was kind of how I got the attention of the Cobb County Police Department, because that's something very near and dear to them, fellow officers being killed in another city. And they took a police report. We've got a case number. I mean, they are taking it very seriously because these written death threats are not a joke. And I actually engaged the page with just a couple posts back and forth. I didn't want to get too involved, but, I said to them, what you're doing is against the law. And he came back with a comment about how he checked with Mr. Rothschild, who the Rothschilds own the Weather Channel indirectly. And that was just a, busting my chops basically about the fact that we were protesting at the Weather Channel, that he had gone up to his, his completely higher ups, and that it was okay for him to make written death threats to us. And I take that very personally and very seriously. And so the fact that Facebook won't take that page down, I just find ludicrous. I mean, Facebook will go in and take down pictures of women that they post that they find too provocative. They'll take down comments that people make about, religion that other users may find offensive, but there's a page whose title actually calls for my death, and Facebook won't take it down. So
right, we've seen Facebook complicit in these. They pick and choose what they want to censor. I mean, there are other pages up before that we've reported where they were openly calling for people to kill the protesters there at the Trayvon Martin rallies that were out, and they just left it up and they said it doesn't violate our policy, or they've left up videos showing beheadings, and people have complained and said at least put a graphic warning on this, that so children are on Facebook and they don't take it down, yet they'll take down photos of mothers breastfeeding or something like this. And obviously a death threat like this is something to take very seriously. And of course, you guys should expect some agent provocateurs and someone who's going to try and turn this into maybe not a peaceful protest or make you all look like crazies or something out there. It's something to try and devalue what you all are doing out there. And that right there should call to arms a lot of people who just aren't going to, cower down to trolls that are out there on the internet.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. They're trying to use fear and intimidation to keep people from coming to an event and participating. And you'd be amazed, Leanne, trying to get an event like this going. I bought signs for this event that disappeared. It was the first lost shipment that the company that I buy them from had in a year. Gone. Then they showed up a week later. I've sent shipments of DVDs out to California, literally disappeared with tracking, gone, had to be reprinted. Activist boxes sent all over the country, gone. The activists aren't receiving them. They do not want the word out on this topic. And it's just so sad. I always say the average American has no idea of the level of evil that we're dealing with. And we better deal with it now while we have the chance. Because if we don't deal with it now, I was just telling Mary Lou that I wanted to briefly mention, I mean, we're looking at a tunnel that's just so dark. It's so narrow and dark at the end. And I see it because I've done so much research and I've read all their books. The Georgia Guidestones, the statements of John Holdren involving depopulation, Ted Turner, Prince Philip.
Right. They've definitely made their agenda very clear.
That's exactly right. And I'm not saying that it's just about depopulation. It's not. There's a whole lot of other purposes: solar radiation management, weather control, weather warfare. There's multiple agendas here. We could argue about, what portion, and I've had philosophical discussions on this point, what portion of this involves depopulation. But I think there's no doubt. I read an article today about mind control, 600. This was from National News, from Mike Adams, talking about 600 different vaccines being administered, mind control vaccines. And we wonder sometimes why we can't reach. I try so hard, and some people you just can't reach. And I can't help but wonder if that's not why. Are they already experimenting? And we know some of what they're putting in, but there's probably a lot that we don't know. And it's just a perfect delivery mechanism for biological, for chemical, for all these different nasty
agents.
That's exactly right. And it's horrifying. And again, we better deal with it now.
Right. We're looking at checkmate here. And that's it. I mean, it's time for people to wake up. It's time for people to stop saying, oh, well, it doesn't affect me if I keep my head in the sand, because it absolutely affects us all. Like you said, we can avoid drinking certain kinds of water. We can avoid eating GMOs, but we can't avoid breathing the air. We all need it to live, and we all deserve to know what exactly they are spraying. Now, talk to me a little bit about the specifics of this event. I know that six-term Congresswoman and all-around badass Cynthia McKinney is slated to be there. But what else do people need to know specifically so that they can get involved with this event on Monday, January 26th, this Monday?
Bottom line is we're going to meet at the Cumberland Mall in the parking lot next to the Sears at Cumberland Mall in North Atlanta. It's right near the junction of 285 and 75, the perimeter around Atlanta 285. The Weather Channel headquarters is right there at 285 and 75. What is it, rather? 300 Interstate North
Parkway
Southeast.
Yeah.
300 Interstate Parkway North Southeast.
But all people need to remember is the Sears, because we're going to be running a van shuttle over to the office building area where Weather Channel headquarters is located, just to keep the traffic down from that area and give them kind of one less thing to cart us off for.
There is a government building right across the street from Weather Channel, and we did some scouting again yesterday, and we don't want people parking over there because we don't want this to turn into a situation where they're hauling off cars. We need to accomplish what we need to accomplish, and that's creating massive awareness. We need to wake up a lot of people, and we plan on accomplishing that on Monday, January 26th. It's going to start at 11 a.m. We'll be there till 5. I've got a shuttle running back and forth between 10:30 and 12:30 for the people coming, and in terms of departure, 3:30 to 5:30. We'll have a van running back and forth to take people the 2 miles between the mall and the Weather Channel headquarters. But
the food court for the Cumberland Mall is right upstairs. When they park outside of Sears, they can go in through Sears and go upstairs to the food court. That's really the closest food concessions we'll have for the event. So other than that, I think we've got all the details.
Yeah, and we'll have your Facebook page up there. People can go link to that as well. You can get all the directions there, the time, and the rundown. It has all of the rules of engagement to make sure this is a peaceful protest and that they aren't going to use any means to shut it down. Greg, Mary Lou, thank you so much for joining us on the show today, and we hope this is a very successful event, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Thanks for having us, Leanne.
That's it for the show tonight. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and then head over to prisonplanet.tv. Your username and password can be shared with up to 20 people at the same time. We just started doing that. So that's 20 people that can have instant access to over 18 years worth of content, everything we do here at Infowars. And of course, you are helping to support this operation. We'll see you here again Monday at 7 p.m. Central. City of Austin tap water versus filtered City of Austin tap water.
I can taste dirt in it.
God knows what's in this.
This has an aftertaste. Tastes like Austin water?
Yeah, it does. Ugh.
These people just sampled City of Austin tap water straight from the faucet. Next, we had them try a sample of tap water filtered through the ProPure G2.0 filtration system.
High quality H2O.
That one is better.
Tastes like nothing.
Yep, I know what good water tastes like. It's good water.
Most tap water contains added substances like fluoride, chlorine, Monsanto's deadly pesticide, glyphosate, and many others. Studies prove that these substances are linked to an assortment of major health issues, including tooth decay, lowered IQ, and even cancer.
It tastes like you're drinking out of the lake when you're drinking tap water.
Yeah, it has that processed flavor to it.
The ProPure G2.0 filtration system removes these deadly substances and many more, leaving only fresh-tasting, deliciously clean water.
Okay, this is very tasty.
It's good water.
Refreshing.
It's good.
Go to InfoWarsStore.com today. Use promo code WATER and save 10% off your ProPure purchase. Again, that's InfoWarsStore.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
You are watching the Infowars Nightly News, which airs 7 p.m. Central at InfoWarsNews.com. And your support is helping us defend liberty worldwide.